you've caught any of the previous podcasts, you're now beginning to realize that I'm a genius, and that I have the gift of foresight into the future, because home prices are coming down.
So pervasive. I mean, it's stolen identities. It's everything. I mean, we get people who look totally legit. They've got a legitimate looking pay stub, a legitimate looking ID. We can even run their credit, but come to find out, the credit report or the credit has been stolen. They're using someone else's identity.
This is information. We do this all the time. If you've watched us for any length of time, we give you information before it hits your average consumer. And that is that rental prices are beginning to slow in growth. Okay, we're live.
We're live.
We are officially live. All right. We're trying this here for the first time. So if you are alerted to us going live, congratulations. You're about to catch the first Red Door Property Management podcast live version, where we are going to go over the economic reports from the previous really 45 days is what I try to keep those reports dialed into. We're going to go over the market reports, which is going to include the data for October, so that we can make predictions on what we're going to do in the investment market, investment real estate market here over the foreseeable future. We're going to go over the question of the week, where we're going to dial in questions that I receive as a business development manager here with Red Door, and ways to maybe critique that question in order to generate the best possible response that's going to help you gauge the property management company that you're potentially vetting to determine if they're a proper fit for you. And then a new segment, which is going to wrap up our 4 real segments, which is going to be the property management bonehead. Now, this is going to detail real life experiences that either we've dealt with or that I've heard from other colleagues in the industry that they've experienced, and what decision they probably could have made better that was going to be a better result for not only the management company, but also the owner. So here we go. My name is Chris Knight. I'm the business development manager here with Red Door Property Management, and although not my attire is not super professional, it is for good reason. I do have IU underneath because Indianapolis in general is having a beautiful athletic season, both for IU University and both the Colts, which are having a killer season. It's only a matter of time before we end up in the Super Bowl this year. So that's what this attire is. This is all good luck. This hasn't been washed in weeks, and it must remain attached to my body. But yeah, Chris Knight, business development manager, and I'm joined with Mike Taylor here, broker, owner of Red Door Property Management. How are you, Mike?
I'm doing excellent, Chris. I can't believe it's like early November. There's snow on the ground already, although it's going to melt. But yeah, crazy.
Snow on the ground right now, and I think Monday or Tuesday it's supposed to be 64 degrees. So don't worry, sunshine is right around the corner. So if you haven't got your Christmas lights up yet, which most of my neighborhood already does, which is awesome. In fact, I've been hounding my wife to get our Christmas tree up and going, and she's like, "No, not until after Thanksgiving."
You're like instantly into Christmas. You're that guy?
I mean, not normally, no, but this year, you know what? Yes. All right, I know all the money that goes out around Christmas, and if I want the holiday spirit for 30 additional days, I think I'm entitled to that.
You got to get your money's worth, right?
I got to get my money's worth. Yes. Yeah. So I'm trying to get her to do that. We haven't done it yet. So what do you guys like after Thanksgiving? That's when you throw the tree up?
Yeah. Thanksgiving. After Thanksgiving. Nothing goes up. It's a pretty strict rule at our house here.
That's boring. That's
nothing
so
Christmassy
boring.
Goes up until after Thanksgiving.
All right, cool. Let us know, when you guys put up your Christmas tree. I'm very curious. I would assume that the majority of people watching this probably already have some type of a Christmas decoration up. I would bet, especially this year. I mean, people's wallets are a little bit tighter. They're like, I need some happy enjoyment going on. But all right. Let's get into the real meat here. Let's go over some economic reports. Mike, I think you might have one or two, and then I know I have one or two that I will quickly gloss over. And these are going to be economic reports that ideally are going to speak to the local real estate market, whether you're an active investor or you currently have just a 1 or 2 rental properties here in the area.
Yeah. And it's a little bit lighter this time of year. It is November, so it's not like peak season. So there's not a ton. And sometimes we pull local data. Sometimes we pull national data. or national articles, just things that we think are interesting to our investors or potential investors here at Red Door. I've got a couple of them. One of them it's a national story, or it's actually not even a national story. It's a story specifically about Atlanta, but it's really appropriate for national and even here locally. And let me just share my screen here real quick. It's actually about rental fraud, and it is specific to Atlanta, but we are seeing it here. So this is from realtor.com. It says rental fraud explodes in Atlanta luxury buildings as soaring costs push tenants to con their way in. So like I said, this is specifically for Atlanta, but they're saying that high-end apartments, as they sit vacant and affordability dwindles, property managers report a sharp rise in applicants falsifying income, employment, and even identities, all in an effort to secure leases they might not otherwise qualify for. And here's a crazy stat. Greystar, the nation's largest apartment landlord, says up to 50% of rental applications in some Atlanta buildings are fraudulent, according to Wall Street Journal. Other landlords also see the trend, citing a surge in fake pay stubs, doctored bank statements, false employment verification letters, many of which are being sold to social media platforms such as TikTok. And so, I mean, again, while that is an Atlanta specific thing, we are absolutely seeing the same thing here.
Yeah.
We have so many things that we have to have in place to identify these things. I mean, we run all of our IDs through ID verification. We make them do a selfie, so it double checks against that. The pay stubs are vetted. The bank statements are vetted to see if there's any potential inconsistencies or if we think it's fraudulent. So, I mean, this is not specific to Atlanta. This is very much a nationwide thing, and something that we are seeing here, and something that is, it slows our process up because you have to verify absolutely everything. I mean, sometimes we have to ask people for a social security card, like physically hold the card, show it with your face. So, I mean, the verification process, it's getting a little more burdensome, a lot more burdensome. I will say that.
Oh, it absolutely is. All right. So a couple things. Number one, we went over property management statistics, I think in our last podcast, where some extremely helpful data, but one of them was speaking to statistics in fraud cases in application. I don't remember the exact percentage point, but it was like a dramatic increase in fraud applications that are happening. And we see it every single day on the ground. So point one, check back to a previous podcast that we did if you want to see some of the real data behind how active fraud is in applications in the rental market, number one. Number two, I had an owner not a day or two ago, was a little bit, we had just received an application, and his first comment was it shouldn't take 3 days to run an application. Mm-hmm. And immediately when I see those, and I'm like, oh man, it absolutely can sometimes, because to your point, when applications are submitted, we have to do everything in our power to confirm all of the information they've submitted. And that includes their driver's license, which with AI, we know how realistic this stuff is becoming and how hard to detect it is. So we have to do real-time video matching, photo matching with selfies with their driver's license up next to their face, hoping that that's going to give us our best opportunity to catch any potential fraud. And we catch all kinds of fraud that way. So it's not only is it a very real thing, but your systems have got to be so updated in order to catch how advanced these fraudsters have become. So yeah, it's a real thing. Oh, back to the point about it taking potentially 3 days. Yes, you want it to take 3 days. If I understand some property management companies might be taking a week to process an application, and they may not be doing all the checks and balances that we are. But the reality is, if you have a property management company who's properly vetting that applicant, it can absolutely take 3 to 5 days, not only to receive all of their information, and you do want all of that information to be submitted, to verify all of that information. And you also have to understand that the communication is not always instantly streamlined, right? You're not going to get an immediate response back probably 80% of the time. So, you give them 24 hours to respond. So yes, it can take 3 to 5 days to process an application, even if they appear well qualified on the front end. So a lot of those points. Go ahead. And then I want to show one more thing on that point. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, but I mean, it's so pervasive. I mean, it's stolen identities. It's everything. I mean, we get people who look totally legit. They've got a legitimate looking pay stub, a legitimate looking ID. We can even run their credit, but come to find out, the credit report or the credit has been stolen. They're using someone else's identity. So I mean, it is real. It is.
Oh, lost your volume. I think you muted your mic.
Sorry about that. It's on all aspects, and you really have to be careful. You really have to vet these people and be super fastidious about these application processes. It's
exactly.
It's real.
Yeah, it is real. All right. Last thing I want to mention on that is you'll see here. So we are currently involved in completely revamping our website. And if you haven't checked it out recently, I highly encourage you to do so. We've got a couple what we refer to as pillar pages, and they are absolutely incredible. But just to get to the point here, one of the pages we've recently put up is involved in our tenant screening page. And here it is. This is absolutely incredible. So if you have any questions about what our tenant screening process is, this is where you need to be. Or if you're not even curious about what ours are, if you're curious about what they should be for your property management company that you're working with, check out our page. This will literally detail how we do ours. And if you're not working with a management company who does very similar screening processes, I would encourage you to probably look elsewhere. So
I just say the days of just getting somebody's application, running their credit score, and considering that application done, those days are over. I mean, you basically have to be a forensic scientist at this point to approve an applicant. I mean, it's really like that.
Yeah, absolutely. I say that all the time. Yeah, it's you really have to be forensic scientists, and that's exactly what we try to train our approval team to be. So, all right, I think we beat that one to death. Let's go on. You got another one for me?
I got one more. It's a little bit of a teaser because we are going to go over rental and sales data a little bit later, but this I like to share because it's a glimpse of everything combined. So we break it down. Like we're gonna break down all of the Indianapolis and all of the surrounding counties, the surrounding suburbs for rental data, for sales data. But this is basically a consolidation of all of that. So I want to just share this here real quick. Let me share my screen one more time, Chris, if you don't mind.
Yeah.
All right, so this is we've done this before from time to time when it makes sense to go over this. Again, this is going to be sales data from MyBor for all of their service areas. So this is all of MyBor. This is all of the counties: Marion County, Hamilton County, Brown County, Boone County, all that stuff. So this is a summary of it all. So I don't want to spend too much time on it, but one thing that I do want to point out is, we have been talking about it. We are seeing the market soften, a pretty decent amount. And, Chris and I have argued about this over the last year. But one thing I do want to point out is this month's inventory of homes. This to me is a great indicator of the demand of the market. And it's called an absorption rate. And it's basically like what it means is if you stop putting homes on the market, how long at the current pace of sales does it take to run through all of your inventory? And right now it's 2.4 months. I think when we were originally talking about this, Chris, it was like 1.3, 1.5. And I was like, hey, we're not in a buyer's market. Look at this. So this is 2.4 is definitely up from where it was. It's not out of control. Don't get me wrong. 2.4 is, a balanced market, but it has certainly increased here over the course of the last year, indicating kind of what we've been talking about for the last 3-6 months is the market is softening.
Yeah, and the thing is that
going into the winter,
we haven't seen balanced in really years, right?
Yeah.
So balanced feels unbalanced these days.
Totally.
Yeah,
totally agree.
Yeah, agree. Go ahead. I'll let you finish up.
No, I'll say the only, again, I don't want to spend too much time on this because we're gonna break these down and in the individual cities. But one bright thing is the mortgage rates are going down. I mean, I think we were at close to 7 at one point. We're almost hitting on closer to 6 versus 7. So that is good news. It's a relief for affordability. That is a bright spot here on this report for October.
Yeah. Hey, listen, going a little bit rogue here, but it just hit me. Have you seen all this talk about 50-year mortgages?
No,
Oh, you
no.
haven't? Oh, okay. Well, then I'm not going to go into it too much. I don't have a whole lot of knowledge on it, but I know it's being tossed around as a real thing right now. Instead of 30-year mortgages, to make housing more affordable, they're talking about instituting 50-year mortgages.
You know what? I think I heard something about that a while back, but I haven't heard anything recently. Is that a real thing?
I mean, based on what my amateur reading has been up to this point, it certainly seems like it's being flirted as a real possibility. So that's about all I know. We'll try to bring you more on that next podcast. But yeah, that just hit me as you were talking about affordability. But and then so that's going to take me into just a quick snapshot. And if you've caught any of the previous podcasts, you're now beginning to realize that I'm a genius, and that I have the gift of foresight into the future, because home prices are coming down. Not only are they coming down, so here's just a highlight. This is from HousingWire.com. This Indianapolis sellers cut prices on majority of homes as inventory builds. So price cuts are hitting 56%. As inventory rises and absorption slows. So to Mike's point, absorption is slower, but that is really a balanced market. But that's not how your consumer sees it. Your consumer, or if you're just listing a property and it's on the market longer than 4.5 days, you're like, oh my God, the market's crashing. But it really is more of a balanced market. But to my point, the point I'm trying to make is, I know that we have a lot of new investors. God, I talk to them every single day. Investors that are trying to enter the market. Well, I can tell you right now that there has probably not been a better time to enter the market in years, because I think that your power to negotiate right now is great. And not because the market is really out of whack, because again, it's not. I think it really is. But your person that's trying to sell their home is getting concerned because it doesn't sell in 5 days. So which makes them worried, which gives you bargaining power. So if you're interested in putting a house market, if you're interested in putting in an offer on a house on the market, now is a really good time. You have, I think, really strong negotiating power. So I mean, I'm not going to go into the boringness of reading out this article for you, but the reality is that inventory is continuing to build. And also, I know that this is a major factor for new construction, as their inventory is just sitting, and they are slashing prices. In fact, now, as if you watch any of our podcasts, I tend to find rabbit holes, and one thing leads to another. So the new construction market is really targeting investors. And I do think that those are good homes to pick up. But if you are picking up a new construction property, and again, this is a point that I have beat to death over the last few podcasts, is that you need to be realistic in what you plan on listing that home for as far as market rent. The chances that you're going to cover costs, even if you were able to secure a 5.5% interest rate, is very unlikely, and that's due to a multitude of reasons. The cost of insurance, the taxes, all of those additional costs when owning real estate are becoming a factor. And then that's going to take me into my last point here, and then I'll shut up. And that is tenant affordability. So I'm going to give you the scoop on what's happening here on the ground, because this is information. We do this all the time. If you've watched us for any length of time, we give you information before it hits your average consumer, and that is that rental prices are beginning to slow in growth. In fact, I'm finding that here on the ground, that we're needing to do a lot more reductions in order to place that tenant quicker. So that is something. If you're new, if you're about to place a home on the market, this is information I would want you to have, and an expectation I would want you to have, is that rents are not growing at the fast pace that they were, and that you should be prepared to reduce in order to place a tenant. And that's before you even factor the time of year and all of that good stuff. So that's what it is.
Let me add two things on that. Yeah, time of year I was just going to mention on that. I mean, this is November is really a time where you really need to have that top of mind, because we are going into the leaner months in terms of leasing season. So you really need to be aware of that. I mean, we're going to break it all down. You can see it in the graphs that we're about to show here in a little bit, but absolutely, like December, January are typically the most difficult months to try to rent something. On average, things rent for less in those months than they do in June and July. So just as an investor, be aware of that. Know that that's coming, and act accordingly. And then one last thing on the circling back to the builder thing. Time of year can also talk about bargaining power. Time of year, it can actually come into play when it comes to bargaining power for builders. I can tell you, my wife used to work for a builder, and the stereotypical end of month, end of quarter, end of year sales goals are a real thing, and they are motivated at those time frames, more motivated than in other time periods. So there really is something to buying something at the end of the quarter, at the end of the year. You really do have more negotiating power. And so, with it kind of being towards the end of the year, you might think about that as far as timing of when to purchase something. So just little 2 cents there.
That's wonderful. Wonderful feedback. This is gold. This is content you can't get anywhere else. This is real investor insights every step of the way. All right. I think that's going to wrap our economic data. You got anything else over there, Mike?
No, that's it. Kind of light this month.
Yeah. Yeah. That's end of the year stuff. One thing I did want to mention, as Mike was mentioning, and I'm only going to bring this up really quick because this is something I've had a lot of questions about, is it difficult to rent my property in the winter? And the answer is kind of. Really, the only slowdowns that I've personally experienced in the winter months is going to be a week before and a week after your major holiday. So a week before and a week after Thanksgiving, a week before and a week after Christmas, absolutely nothing moves. Nothing is going to move. You're not going to see an application. But aside from that, I find that it's relatively consistent with other times of the year for the most part. Weather's going to be a factor and all that. If we're having a lot of snow, maybe that's going to be a factor. But anyway, I just wanted to give my 2 cents on time of the year. Okay.